When was the last time you had a crush on someone? I'm sure each of you knows how that feels. And so, of course, all of you know what happens in that very moment. You feel attracted to another person just because you feel you two have so many things in common. You may not know what exactly, but that's not important. And you may also feel that the other person has a very interesting, fascinating backstory, which, of course, you mainly feel fascinating because you don't know it in detail. One reason for the attraction is your assumption that the other person is more or less exactly like you, with a few slight but important differences. And in order to get a crush on someone, it's not necessary that you know so much about the other person. In fact, it's even easier if you don't. What you need are some facts, some details, as rough and random as they might be. And then your heart, and sometimes also your brain, will start to look for some sense inside these facts, and will start to extrapolate from that little amount of data you have, and start to create a whole new image, a whole new personality out of it. And of course, this new image, this new person is far more interesting and far more fascinating than reality can ever be. But that's not for you to worry about now. You want it to be true, and so it is true. And you don't know it any better. You didn't have any context, and so you made some on your own. And so this is having a crush on someone works by recognizing the other person is more or less you, and second, by knowing not too much, but enough details to be able to make an educated guess about anything else. And with these 2 points, I've not only explained love and the rules of attraction, but also my very deep affection for other people's lost shopping lists. Because I find other people's lost shopping lists since I've been living in Munich around 2.5 years now. And I find them everywhere I go. It's kind of a hobby. I find it in the park, not only in the supermarket where they kind of belong, but also in the subway, in the elevator, in my office, in the swimming pool, anywhere. And when I find one, I do not pick it up, but I slightly check whether it's not too dirty so I can touch it. And then I take a photo and post that photo on Instagram and leave the list where I found it. And I found that each and every list is a huge source for inspiration and also gives me more details about its former owner than he or she would ever be willing to give to me in person. The first one I found in the subway in spring 2015, and it's kind of a reminder of a very special evening. We have tomatoes, we have pine nuts, we have pork, bacon, potatoes, lamb's lettuce, tomatoes again, carrots, milk, and asparagus. And this, of course, is a shopping list. Could also be a cooking receipt. And a few days later, I found my favorite one, my all-time favorite. It's a yellow Post-it in Munich main station. We have a man's shirt in a man's size. We have cheap lipstick, tickets, who knows for what, and we have a lady's dress and a blazer. And now I can literally hear your brains and your hearts creating the context behind it. I will leave you to it. But to be honest, in the normal case, the stories are not that obvious, that plain, and are even a bit more quiet, like that one. We have here potting soil, a blouse, sneaker socks in black, and tomatoes, asparagus, and maybe spaghetti. And this is quite a nice impression of a normal day, of a normal life, actually. But, of course, we have to be careful, especially I have to be careful, because as a journalist, I can only take for granted what I see there, what stands there. This is what I know. All the other things I have to guess about. And it's not my job to guess. It's my job to know, to write stories that are true and to find out what I don't know. And obviously, in these cases, this is not possible. And so each and every shopping list I find marks a clear line for me. And I'm trying to balance on this line, but I mustn't cross it. And as you can see, guessing is very tempting in these cases, especially in this cheap lipstick thing. And I can see clearly what lies beyond that border of I mustn't cross. It's the land of imagination and of fiction. It doesn't cost much to imagine and to wonder how the faces and how the people and the lives that stand behind the lost shopping lists could look like. In some cases, it's even merely literature, it's poetry. It's almost a novel in a nutshell. Just again, this cheap lipstick thing. The best poetry you can find. Or look at that one. It's a great impression of an ordinary Saturday, starting with bread and milk, lime juice, sour cream, eggs, 10, maybe 6. Assume it's going to be a cake. So we have daycare, shower gel, then a visit in an electronic device store, and concert tickets again. Or that one. I found that in the holiday. No spray, underwear, kinesio tape, and a towel. Written probably by a woman. And the rest is your imagination. Or that one. We have lemon, olive oil, potatoes, salad, sausage, yogurt. It's a normal grocery list with a few extra wishes. Or that one. Packing list for summer camp for a little boy. I found it on the main station again. Several clothes, trousers, pullovers, socks, and very funny pajamas, and a stuffed animal, a teddy bear. That's really sweet. Others are sheer documents of everyday life. Here you have some pizza ingredients. I wish I'd been there. Looks really nice. Oh, that one is merely art. You could put it on the wall. It's that little, but you could put it on the wall and call it Deutschland, maybe. Potatoes, bread, different kinds of sausages, butter, eggs, margarine, and sauerkraut. I was really happy about that one. Of course, you can have an impression of people's characters as well. Found that one. Yeah, I leave you to it. It speaks for itself. And of course, you have also the opposite. That one. That could be a short story of tobacco, honey, some sweets, and it's really nice. And at the bottom, you have "Please turn around." I didn't do that. I didn't see that, and because I leave them where I find them, it's too late now. But the front page is nice as well. And this is another favorite. It's pure poetry. Flowers, toothpicks, lemon. Really nice. Really strong imagery. And of course, at first sight, it could look a bit boring, 3 words, nothing more. But it's not. It's not boring. And not only because of the words, but also because of the blank space that is around it and that you fill now with your own imagination. I find around 100 shopping lists, average in a year or something. And I find it very interesting because every list allows us to have a glimpse in another person's life, a very intimate glimpse. And what could be more interesting than having a look into another people's life, to watch another person live. That's exactly the same mechanism Facebook and Instagram work on, and the reason why they are so successful. But of course, social media works in a different direction, because on Facebook and Instagram, you do not only want to look, but you also want to present yourself. You want to create a certain image. Every posting, every picture, every joke is merely a picture of yourself. It's like dancing to music, but going on the stage first and shouting, "Hey, look at me." And finding a lost shopping list is like watching somebody dance who dances like nobody's watching. A lost shopping list shows people not in the way they want to be seen, but in the way people are. So they are authentic, they are honest, if you will. And in a world and in a public sphere where almost everything is directed and staged and designed, lost shopping lists could be one of the last pieces that are not designed and not curated, that are really honest. Honestly, in most cases, I'm not alone when I find these shopping lists, but in company. And then really absurd scenes happen, because I do almost anything to catch a lost shopping list if I find one. I stop in the middle of a sentence. I jump into the street on the rail tracks, I turn in the middle of the escalator, and then I'm just gone. And when my friends turn around because they're talking to me, then maybe I'm down on my knees and taking a photo. And then the other people look at me and say, "Why the hell are you doing that? What are you doing? Why do we find these trash thingies so interesting?" And I have to admit, this is a good question, and I didn't have an answer for that for a long time. But it's easy. As I said before, lost shopping lists allow a glimpse into another person's life. And the exciting thing is that what I can see is mostly not exciting. It's mostly not extraordinary and special and glamorous, but it's ordinary. It's normal. It's like looking into a mirror and maybe seeing myself or another person. Doesn't matter, because it's all the same. These are the ingredients of other people's lives. These are the ingredients other people need so badly that they don't want to forget them. And this is for me as well. These are also the ingredients of my life. And so each and every lost shopping list is kind of a little piece of proof. I'm a normal person. I'm not alone. There are plenty of other persons who are exactly like me. There are plenty of other persons who have also their daily struggles, and they also fail in stocking toothpaste, and then one day, one morning, they don't have any. Then they have to buy some, and then they don't trust their brains and write down toothpaste on a piece of paper. And then they even fail in keeping that piece of paper. That's very good to know. And on some days, it's very good to be reminded of that. So as the shopping lists can no longer remind their former owner of what he or she didn't want to forget, it reminds me of something bigger, and for me, something more important. And so if I can give you one final piece of advice, then don't lose your shopping list. Because you need it more than I do. I have plenty of others. And it's precious. And it's so precious because it could tell a story about you that you wouldn't want to tell me if I asked you for it. And if you lose it anyway, don't worry. It'll be in good hands. Thank you.